All right, so we've got first Sandy Bowen of Becoming a Living Sanctuary, a personal journey into an intimate life with Christ. Sandy is a retired pastor, but guess what? The word retired is not even in the Bible. So the Lord kept calling her and calling her and calling her. She has been hosting online challenges. She has her book out. Nothing is stopping her. She hangs out with her friends and they're like busy playing bingo or no telling what they're doing. Sandy's like moving and shaking. Nothing's stopping her. Sandy's not retired. She is working for the Lord. The Lord is her CEO. Put the Lord is my CEO in the chat box, everybody. The Lord is my CEO. There's no retirement when the Lord is your CEO. The Lord will call you to write a book. He'll call you to host a challenge. He'll call you to be praying for people. He'll call you to be an instrument. And for Sandy, she began having these beautiful supernatural encounters with the Lord and wrote this beautiful book, Becoming a Living Sanctuary. So let's give it up for Sandy Bowen. Woo! I love it. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. What an honor.
It's so good to see you.
I said yes to Christine to do this because Christine's program literally changed my life in the way that I saw future in quote unquote retirement. And so I said yes because I wanted others to know there's nothing that is an excuse. I just turned 67 or 77 the other day.
We'll just say 67.
Yeah. One of my friends said, you're not at the seven stage yet. And I said, been there quite a while. But there's nothing that should get in the way if God is wanting you to get your story out. And if your story has God all around it, then it needs to get out. And particularly, not just particularly, and any of you who are over 60, we're all getting closer to being in glory land, and our story needs to be out before we pass over into eternity with Jesus. So my story is all about my journey of growing up in a mainline denomination where we went to church every Sunday and then we left and life was as the rest of the world. But I was grounded in the Bible and in basic prayer. The middle part of my book is about what my husband and I did in taking that and growing that around our family as we developed faith as we could. And then he came down with brain cancer. And in the midst of us trying to figure out life with him and his trauma, I started growing and grasping and seeking what Holy Spirit was, because no one in our church ever, no pastor, no one ever talked about Holy Spirit, and yet it was hungry. I was hungry. And so the middle part of my book is about that and how the Lord just kind of carried me through the most tragic thing in any couple's life, any family life. And from there, my journey went to a stage, a way, a life, intimacy with God like nobody I had ever met. I've met lots of people since then, but not in my mainline arena. And so I felt like I needed to write this story so that more people who just went to church every Sunday, grew up going to church thinking they're okay because they sat in a pew and really don't know Jesus, really don't know the power of Jesus in their personal life, really don't know who the Holy Spirit is and the amazing things the Holy Spirit has for us when we surrender unto his will and his way. And so I actually, before meeting Christine, I was part of another writing program, very basic writing. It was wonderful. It helped me out a lot, but I felt like there was a brass ceiling over my head, holding me back. That all of my book then was me telling about the tragedy of being in love and husband getting cancer and dying, and talking about Jesus along the way, but there wasn't power in it. And the Lord wouldn't let me move past that basic story. And then I met Christine through actually another program that we were both in, but I met Christine and I felt called to go to her retreat and met a bunch of other people who, many of them are still my friends. And I joined the program and I met with Dan. And if you haven't met Dan yet, he was brand new to working with Christine's folks in those days. And he did that outline class. I was at the outline class and then had 2 sessions with him. And the concept of what I had written from just telling the basic story into what my book came out of Holy Spirit speaking in the midst of my conversation with Dan about how God wanted me to do the book. So I tell my story, but also it invites people to explore their story and how they can jump into this incredible journey with the Lord in their lives and their own story. And so, my friends, if you're sitting on the edge, you have a privilege of this whole group being just women who are spirit-filled. And back in those days, 2 years ago, January of 2022, I said, Christine, you need to have this be where everybody is just really understanding Holy Spirit. And she said, yeah, but people are coming to Jesus because of it. And I said, but we need to be together and praying in our story. And so my prophetic message to her is now finally coming into being. And you guys are so blessed to be able to jump in with other radical or loving Jesus people who are Christine knows more now, Quay knows more now, Dan knows more now. And it's you have such an amazing opportunity. I wish I had then, but it's the same Holy Spirit and he did wonderful things. I actually am really proud of this book because of everybody that I encountered that Christine said, go talk to this person, go talk to that person. The editor is amazing. The cover designer, when all I did was kind of give her just a basic idea and she came up with this amazing cover that actually was a vision I had in one of my dreams that I had. She didn't know that, but God did. So
that's so God. I love it. I love it. Well, I am just so excited for you, Sandy, because I see you continue to show up in your beautiful book and the impact that you're making and the impact you have on our community too. I mean, come on, go ahead and put some love in the chat box for Sandy. If she inspired you today, if something that she said spoke to you, because Sandy, it's just so amazing. You're like, I'm just working for the Lord. I'm not retired. We're going on this train and writing this book and hosting little online events and just transforming lives one book at a time, one story at a time. So you're such an amazing example for that, Sandy. And what was the big news? And we launched you.
Launched me in May of 2022.
Yes.
And became a #1 Kindle version, Amazon bestseller.
Yes.
that was an amazing thing. And if
75 back then.
Yeah. And if I hadn't had Christine in her program and her breathing every day, she breathes her breath into, okay, this, do that, do this, do that. That would have never happened to me. So
wow,
that's so pretty exciting.
Oh,
well, it's not going to be on my headstone, but it's in my heart. And, and I can say it wherever I go to speak or in all my classes online. I'm a #1 bestseller. And people go, oh, wow. It is a big accomplishment. It's really a
Yes,
big accomplishment. So,
absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing, Sandy. Thank you for always being my friend and cheering everybody on and just being that loving presence. If you ever get to meet Sandy in person, she's going to give you the best hug you've ever had. And yeah, I can't wait for that day to come again where I can hug you and just see you.
hopefully soon.
Yes. Well, thank you for sharing. Everybody give Sandy some love in the chat box. Make sure you go over there and see all the love in the comments over there, Sandy. Thanks again for sharing. We so appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for the honor.
Oh, thank you. I'm
Very
honored.
well.